Welcome to the Really Likable Geeks Podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Stuart.
And this is the podcast where we talk about nerd stuff and things that keep you from going outside, like video games, comics, anime, and other nerd things alike. This episode of the Really Likable Geeks Podcast is brought to you by Audible. Thank you, Audible, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Book of the week, Stuart.
The book of the week. And we're actually themed, too. We're going to have a themed episode.
I like it.
What? Yeah, I know, it's awesome.
Oh!
The book,
Parody is cool.
yeah. The book of the week is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, who's actually two people.
Yes.
Yeah. Leviathan Wakes. Humanity has colonized the solar system, Mars, the moon, the asteroid belt. Shut up. Shut your mouth.
I'm sorry.
He's trying to read.
Leviathan Wakes. The Expanse, Book 1. Humanity has colonized the solar system, Mars, the moon, the asteroid belt, and beyond, but the stars are still out of our reach. Jim Holden is the XO of an ice miner making runs from the rings of Saturn to the mining stations of the belt, when he and his crew stumble upon a derelict ship, the Scopely. They find themselves in possession of a secret they never wanted, a secret that someone is willing to kill for, and kill on a scale unfathomable to Jim and his crew. War is brewing in the system unless he can find out who left the ship and why. Detective Miller is looking for a girl, one girl in a system of billions, but her parents have money and money talks. When the trail leads him to the Scopely and rebel sympathizer Holden, he realizes that this girl may be the key to everything. Holden and Miller must thread the needle between the Earth government, the outer planet revolutionaries, and secret corporations, and the odds are against them. But out in the belt, the rules are different, and one small ship can change the fate of the universe.
Dun, dun, dun.
If you guys haven't heard about it, because you're living under a rock, there's this new show on Sci-Fi called The Expanse.
I have heard about that.
Yeah, actually.
I haven't watched it yet.
This is the book.
Nice.
That it was
is
from.
The book.
Show is really good, but the book is even better.
Yeah.
The book's fantastic.
Again, isn't that
I know,
usually
we
how
do
it
that.
is?
We do that.
Well,
too
I
many
mean, they
times,
have.
I
they
know,
have
I'm just saying, though.
the space to do it. They're not
they
limited by the constraints.
Because
but-
Expanse.
it's
Nah,
a
space.
book about space.
Space jokes.
There will be many. So it's this is the one, I don't know. It's not really a spoiler. This is the one book that combines space, aliens, zombies, which I really enjoy.
Space alien zombies.
Space alien zombies, which is fantastic.
So, Dead Space.
I guess TV show and book.
You know what's funny? I speaking of Dead Space, I had a buddy who was talking to me about
that's aliens
that.
and
He's like,
zombies.
if you could compare it to something, what is it? And I was like, well, considering that everything is pretty messed up in that universe, it's kind of like The Thing.
I would say it's Space Evil Dead.
Space Evil Dead
Yeah.
meets The Thing, in a way.
Yeah.
The Thing was messed up. I love that movie.
I mean, if you think of the thing that they all came from as the Necronomicon, it's like Space Evil Dead. Isn't the thing an alien? Yes, the thing is
it's
an
like a
alien.
parasite
But
or
I was
whatever it is.
like, they're kind of like
It's an alien,
zombies, and that's kind of like my mind goes to Evil Dead whenever I think about
Fair
zombies.
enough.
That's true.
But that kind of ties into what we're talking about this week, because what's coming up, Stuart?
UFO Day.
UFO Day.
Well,
UFO Day.
it's already here.
It's already here.
It's
oh,
already
yeah, it is
here.
already here.
Technically, we're
current-
recording on
yeah,
UFO Day.
on
It's
UFO
currently
Day.
UFO
So happy UFO Day. I don't care who you are. UFOs exist.
Now, you may have celebrated
It's
UFO
true,
Day.
because an unidentified flying object could be multiple things. If you don't know what it is, it's unidentified.
Did you hear pushback from either of us that UFOs did not exist?
They do now.
Okay, well, there wasn't any.
It didn't.
You're like, UFOs exist, and he
They
said
do.
something unrelated. And you're like, here's why.
I was just commenting that some of these people may have celebrated UFO Day a little earlier on June 24th, which would be the anniversary of when, what is his last name? Kenneth something. I completely blanked on that. He was the first pilot while flying to call in a UFO flight or UFO in flight.
Let's Google it.
There you go.
I had it a while ago.
Why don't you, Matt,
Larson?
give us a quick history of unidentified flying objects?
Oh, good Lord. There is
Kenneth Arnold.
Arnold. That's what it was. It was Kenny. Anyway,
1947.
Yep, 47.
But not the first recorded
No,
sighting of a
the
UFO.
first recorded sighting of a UFO was in the, 1400 BC.
1440 BC.
There you go, 1400s BC by the ancient Egyptians. This is not what you think of when you see the History Channel. We're not talking about
ancient
the
aliens,
Draconoids,
That's
and
not a real show.
the other people from the space coming
we're
down to
we're
talk
talking about
to the
actual
Egyptians.
recorded text.
This is just what the Egyptians wrote down that they saw, and it was completely unexplainable.
It's what they drew down in their picture books.
Yeah, they're hieroglyphics. I mean, my handwriting's that bad too, but
Pictographs.
whatever.
They're picture books.
It's pictographs,
It's-
hieroglyphics.
It's pictograph
It's a little bit too old and a little bit too far away for us to be able to confirm or even investigate much of anything. Not that any other UFO investigations get far, but it was the first recorded instance of someone acknowledging an unidentified flying object. And considering
It was
in
a rock that was thrown
1440
really hard.
BC, nothing flew except for animals that could fly.
and rocks.
Chances
that
are
people
high
threw.
that
Well, okay, but even that is disputed because there are some people who look at ancient Sumerian carvings and say like, "Oh, that's an alien." See how he's got the glass dome on his head, like how we would think of like aliens. It's like, oh, and this shape obviously has to be a rocket ship.
Yeah.
So there's disputation about all of that.
Yeah.
But, we're going with this is what was written. It was a priest to the I believe it was Pharaoh Thothmuth.
I don't know which pharaoh, but it was to a pharaoh.
Thothmuth the third, I believe, just off the top of my head.
Or white.
I'll go with it.
We can't pronounce those words.
I mean, if anyone knows their Egyptology, they know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, and that was the first recorded instance.
Yes.
Like we were like, this is like strange skylights.
There have been hundreds of
Strange
thousands,
skylights.
hundreds of thousands since then.
Yeah.
Most have been easily refuted and completely shot down, pun intended. But there are a few out there that are pretty creepy and don't have much of an explanation.
Steve, when I say UFO, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Aliens.
I was thinking of like UFO event.
Oh, like unidentified flying object. Yeah. Usually anytime I hear anybody say, "Oh, it's a UFO," it's like, okay. I always think of some sort of military.
It's a weather balloon.
Yeah, like military technological
Swamp
advancement.
gas.
Like something like that. They're like, "Oh, it's UFO." It's like, okay.
Meteor.
The first thing that I think of is, okay, it's a new type of aircraft that's being tested. You happen to see it. You probably won't see it ever again. But then there's other
Until it's
UFOs
declassified.
that I've seen that make me go, what's it look like? Because that's the part. What's it look like? Because is it military or is it something that's been reported before?
Yeah.
Like the infamous the triangle one. The infamous triangle UFO.
Yeah.
And then the
I think
the one of the weird lights across the ridge on the mountains,
Yeah.
the big round saucer one.
Washington,
What does it
the
look
line
like?
of 9 of them.
Yeah.
I think the most.
And then the A-shaped one.
Here's what I was trying to get.
Sorry.
Wait, here's what I was trying to lead you to.
Okay.
Hey, Matt, what's the most famous UFO sighting that you could possibly think of?
I'm drawing a blank here.
Jesus.
Are you talking about the crash in Roswell?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Wow.
What? It's
The
synonymous with UFOs.
You asked me
in
when you hear
America.
UFOs, what do you
The-
think
the
of?
crash-
Unidentified
the most,
flying
like,
object.
the
famous-
crash in Roswell in 1947.
It's not new.
that was
Don't be that
on-
disappointed.
Oh, that was on July 2nd.
Aliens took
Yes.
our memories.
Today.
Thanks,
Yes.
Peanut
In
Gallery.
honor.
Oh
That's
my God.
why we celebrate.
That's what I was doing.
That's why we celebrate World UFO Day.
Jesus.
I'm so sorry. I had.
Space Jesus. Save me.
You're a winner.
I'm sorry. I had my memory wiped. It must have been one of those aliens.
Oh, we had lost time.
Don't look
Apparently-
away.
Apparently, I was the only one who didn't just lose time.
That's it.
You blinked.
Can I talk really quick about that? So that crash.
Can you?
It's very, iconic.
Roswell?
It is.
Yes.
It's extremely.
Please.
Okay, I have a theory when it comes to spacecrafts crashing or that like alien UFOs, whatever the hell you want to say,
It's weather balloons.
crashing
Isn't
into the ground or the ocean or whatever. So I had a theory, and I talked to a few people about this. About hey, let's just go hypothetically say that UFOs are real. and aliens are real.
When you say UFOs, you mean that UFOs are alien craft?
Yeah, alien crafts.
Okay.
Let's just say, hypothetically, they do 100% factually exist. Let's just say that.
Yep, sure.
I'm listening.
So we know that they exist. We know that they can, in fact, visit here.
Sure. Don't know why
But
they would.
they crash.
Especially New Mexico.
Okay.
Like,
French fries.
If
why
you
New
have
Mexico?
if you have a craft that can travel interdimensionally, whatever,
Or at least
intergalactically,
interstellar, at least, minimum.
You know, why what would cause one of those crafts to crash here? What is it about this
Flat
that would cause
tire.
them to crash? Fair enough.
Ran out of space crystals.
My theory is because we've seen
They
footage
love alien jerky.
of certain
I-
things taking off at incredible rates of speed, from like 0 to who only God knows how fast. You know how many G's are pulling, whatever. Instantly, it's gone in a blink of an eye. Literally, sometimes vanishing, not even being able to tell which direction it went in. I have a theory, and some people have talked to me and debunked me on this and stuff, but I'm just saying this is my theory. The reason why they crash is because you're traveling at such a high rate of speed through space, and I would assume through time in some capacity. Earth just sort of gets in the way. And so they don't have time to maneuver away from it, so they end up just crashing into it. Like when you hit a deer.
Here's
That's why I say. Now, some people have
here's-
said, "Well, you'd be going so fast, you would just cut right through." I'm like, not necessarily.
here's my
Especially if you hit your
here's
brakes.
my argumentation against that is one, unlike a deer, when you're driving along a highway, a planet's gravitational rotation of a star is predictable.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, using.
I mean-
we have computers that can predict
Comets
our
that are
own.
gonna hit
yeah,
us.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So
I guess
anyone with that
So
technology.
UFOs don't have that technology.
don't have GPS.
They don't have.
I mean, I
they
feel
don't
like-
have like collision
You have
protection.
intergalactic travel, or at least
yeah,
interstellar
I mean-
travel, and you don't have the ability to predict a
The-
rock
yeah.
floating around a sun.
Yeah, I mean,
I find that hard to believe.
me too. But
I would just assume that because, like, yeah, you can do all that stuff. So it's like,
you'd assume.
yeah,
they'd have,
you would
like,
assume like,
sensors.
oh yeah, we'll go that quick. So yeah, we would like slice through like some space rocks or some
Well,
space rocks.
let me-
But
let
like
me-
a planet, that's a planet.
Well, let me
Like-
point out the fact that science fiction has already solved that kind of
That
notion.
was just my theory.
I know, but there's already science fiction that kind of disproves like why you wouldn't have such a thing.
Right.
In Star Wars, they make the jump to hyperspace, right?
Yes.
They make the jump to light speed. For those that
Have a
don't,
sunlight speed.
yeah, for those that don't know, they're not traveling just randomly. Like, oh, we're here, we're just going to go light speed in this direction. They actually have mapped out hyperspace routes where, like, you follow
It's like
this.
a wormhole.
It's not a wormhole. It's a
freeway.
map. It's a freeway, exactly.
Yeah, like
this is a safe freeway. Well, because a
there's nothing
wormhole
that
is a
you're going to
bending of.
Oh, I'm sorry, not a wormhole.
It's a highway.
Yeah, it's a
No, it's
black
not,
hole.
It's not a black hole or
black
wormhole.
hole's bad.
It's just a lane.
Yeah, it's very bad.
It's a lane throughout the galaxy that they know they can travel at the speed of light without
not hit
running into
anything.
anything.
Yeah. You ever seen? It's kind of like a Stargate when
And
they
it does
go in
change
and it goes
periodically.
voo, and they're like in that thing. It's like
Yes.
they take that direct route
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Okay, so Steve, here's another theory for you then. Let's say, for instance, again,
Space highway sounds cool.
I know, right? Doesn't it?
That's what
Yeah,
it is.
It really is.
Yeah.
Let's say, for instance, that UFOs, being alien craft, exist. And they do actually come here to abduct us and perform experiments.
Yeah.
Let's just assume, for the sake of the argument, that this
Yay,
exists.
experiments.
Okay.
Yay, science.
So let's take, for instance, this doesn't happen all the time. They aren't just coming to completely eradicate us. It's not, we're still alive and it doesn't happen very often. So this would lead me to believe that an alien doing this is probably not part of a grander scheme. So maybe it's like a rogue scientist alien doing weird experiments on what he thinks are completely inferior creatures.
Okay.
Maybe he wouldn't have the best technology. Maybe his ship would suffer a breakdown. Maybe it's running ragged because he's not technically legit.
Okay. He's a scavenger, essentially. Alien scavenger scientist, mad scientist, weirdo.
I would say maybe not scavenger, but
From
like
the
mad
South.
scientist
From the
doesn't
South.
have funding from the government, doesn't have the best galactic government, whatever.
But I can do it. I watch this on YouTube.
I can prove to them that these humans are a
Space
pest.
YouTube. Space tube.
Space tube.
Galactic tube.
Well, I mean, the problem with SpaceTube is that they've really been cracking down on their advertisement metrics, and it's because of
Net neutrality.
space
Net
Clinton,
neutrality.
Space Clinton.
Space Clinton.
Hey, and you guys cannot forget, like 3 or 4 years ago, Spacegate.
Space Gate.
Yeah.
Happened around the time when the Space Olympics was happening.
But let's talk
The year
about
2020.
let's talk about anyone that's ever
You're a
discussed
winner.
or researched aliens and UFOs for any amount of time has probably heard of something called the Drake equation.
Tell us about it, Stuart.
Drake equation was written
I
in
really wanted to make a bad joke
1961
about Drake.
by Frank Drake. No,
Don't.
did
I
not.
couldn't come up with them fast
Did
enough.
not.
Oh, good enough.
It was an equation written in 1961 by Frank Drake, not for purposes of quantifying the number of civilizations, but as a way to stimulate scientific dialogue at the first scientific meeting on the search for intelligent extraterrestrial life, or
SETI.
SETI, exactly. The equation summarizes the main concepts which scientists must contemplate when considering the question of other radio communicative life. Obviously, there's been a lot of criticism about it since then. Not necessarily on the equation itself, but on the fact that the estimated values for several of the factors are highly conjectural.
Yes.
Like he's guessing.
Yes.
Which is the point, but it's supposed to kind of give us a baseline idea of if there are this many stars in the known galaxy, and there are an average of this many masses or planets orbiting it, and the probability of it having a carbon-based atmosphere and blah,
And a
blah, blah,
habitable
blah.
zone.
You're right.
Exactly. Then there would have to be this many species that survived. The apocalyptic event. I forget what it's called. The bottleneck.
Oh,
Sure.
in evolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
I don't know the
evolutionary bottleneck.
Yeah.
The evolutionary bottleneck is where at any given time a species will make evolutionary change to survive in a differing or changing environment, or they will
Not.
just simply die off. I mean, even on our own planet, that hundreds of species
It's a
go
population
extinct.
bottleneck.
Yeah.
A genetic bottleneck. Reduction in the size of population due to environmental events, earthquakes, floods, fires, diseases, or human activities.
Yep.
Such as genocide.
Yep. So we as a species have survived supposedly, depending on who you argue with, 3 or 4 bottlenecks.
Yes, we have.
I think.
But
there's
we
someone-
won't go into that.
Well, someone argued 5. I think at one point.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting. I mean, so many different things, so many different variables had to be exactly right in order for not only our species to grow and evolve on this planet, but the numerous other ones.
Let alone the planet's ecosystem
Yeah.
teetering on a line.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
Meteor strikes that were apocalyptic were not all too uncommon, a million or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You also
We ain't got no more dinosaurs thanks to that.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Or do we?
Well,
Did they escape to space?
No.
Maybe they were hyper intelligent.
No.
Oh, not dinosaurs.
Uses
Not
gases.
okay. Fair. We use exploding dinosaurs as gas. Plastic dinosaurs are actually made out of dinosaurs.
It's true. It's
pretty
that's
cool.
Fair. Yeah. Fair.
So if you own plastic dinosaurs, you own a real one.
You own a real
say,
dinosaur.
I will say though, I am very
Or some-
glad
Crappy plants or fauna.
Yeah.
when SETI
wax.
changed their program, probably 7-8 years ago, because when SETI first got launched, they were a speaker and not a microphone. Or no, yeah, they were a speaker and they weren't a microphone. When SETI first got launched, their goal was to broadcast basically, hello, we're humans, we're on Earth. Is anyone out there?
It was Carl Sagan who actually helped develop the first intergalactic message that we wanted to send out into space.
And we sent it, and we sent it, and we sent it, just broadcasting nonstop because maybe someone out there would hear it.
Yeah. I was gonna say you did explain what
And
the Drake
not
equation
too
was,
terribly
right?
long ago. I want to say it was like 5, 6
For some reason,
years.
I'm blanking. Like maybe you didn't do that.
Lost time?
It happened.
They changed their program.
They're
and
here.
They figured, just in case, maybe aliens do exist. Do we really want to be broadcasting this?
Yeah.
Let's not yell into space. Let's listen.
Yeah.
Let's just turn everything off and listen instead.
We've gotten some weird stuff that's come back too.
I mean, none of it, we have. I will not dispute that
We've
there
got some
are some
weird
weird
stuff.
things going on in space.
That's
Yeah.
100% true.
but whether or not
It's life.
it's life and intelligent life, because
Yeah.
here's the problem, is that we assume that any intelligent life that we would be able to communicate with would communicate in the same way that we do. Like we
Right.
use radio bands and frequencies in order to pass transmissions of voices or, coded messages.
And even that,
on
voices.
distances.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
use voice boxes and speak. And then on top of that, it's a language.
Yeah.
There's tons of different things that
I
can be
think
genetically different.
I think it was Kurt Vonnegut. I forget which book who wrote about First Contact, and the aliens. Their language was what we would think of as burps and farts. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, I love that book. It's fantastic. And
It's,
people are just like, why do they keep farting and burping on us? Yeah, I can't think of the name of that book. Vonnegut wrote so many books.
really
It's
did.
hard to keep track
It's
of. Are you looking it up?
yeah.
That was a really great book.
It's where he's like, I tell you, if we're here on Earth to fart around, don't let anyone tell you different. It's where it came from. That it's from the Brainy quote from him.
Yeah.
But it's dang it, I can't. I don't. There's so many books.
Anyways,
So that's the Drake equation.
so that's the problem with the other problem is that you know what the very first television transmission that was blasted off into space was?
Lost in Space.
No, think way before that.
I feel like that would be pretty funny.
It's even worse.
Oh, Lord.
The very first television transmission that was broadcast into space was the opening of the 1934 Munich Olympics. Guess who presided over the opening of the Olympic Games?
Oh,
Little guy named Adolf Hitler.
Adolf. Yeah.
So that was the first thing that was broadcast by humans into space.
I believe it was
television.
Breakfast of Champions. Wasn't
Breakfast
it?
of Champions.
Yes.
Thank you. That was a good book.
Yeah, good book.
Um,
Farting and
Well, as
burping.
long as they don't do their research about Hitler before they come down here, I think we're cool.
And there's a great, if you guys have ever read the Carl Sagan novel Contact,
I've read some Carl Sagan stuff.
they talk about that.
I try to be really careful with reading some of that stuff because a lot of it's like a lot of stuff's pretty far fetched. Some of it's like, where are you?
We're talking about aliens.
This?
It's about as far-fetched as it gets.
No. Like I'd take some other authors or writers or whoever, scientists, words over other people. And Carl Sagan, while he was one of the great minds, whatever, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I can't really. You're looking at me like I'm a nutcase.
I would-
because
because
don't
you're
like Carl Sagan.
dismissing Carl Sagan.
I would
mean,
disagree
what's
with you,
wrong
but
with
that's
that?
just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
What's wrong with
I don't think
dismissing
you can,
Carl Sagan?
because
Like-
he's
Everyone has their opinion.
one
I
of the
disagree with his
forefront
opinion.
minds on like space of a generation. It's like Galileo. What did he know?
I just
Copernicus, who?
Da Vinci?
Bleh. He called his helicopter design an aerial screw.
Yeah.
What
that's
idiot.
dumb.
I mean, that book was written for fiction, though. You know what I mean? I grew up watching Cosmos. I mean, that was how I first learned about space. I mean,
Yeah.
Carl Sagan. For a
Personal
lot of
opinion,
us, I
I do take what he
I mean,
says pretty.
I have read like, what is that? The blue dot, whatever it is, or the great blue dot, and then the Cosmos and all that. I have. It's just like, I'm gonna base all of everything out just off of one guy.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's what I'm
just saying.
There's with how far we've come since Carl Sagan's done all that. you know, has produced all that. It's like there's things that have come out now that it's like, whoa.
Well, yeah, Cosmos came out in the 70s.
Yeah, but still,
It's
and it was
already been
pretty,
rehashed.
and it was very well done. Not saying it was not his
what is
research
it?
and everything wasn't.
Who did the new one?
Neil
deGrasse Tyson
yeah.
did the new one, which I'm like, his Twitter account is a little crazy. He needs to kind of
That was the one on Nat Geo, wasn't it?
dial it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But Neil deGrasse Tyson needs
He's
to
a real smart guy. He knows his
he
stuff,
is, but he's gone Bill Nye with like he's become very PC when scientific research and discovery should not be have anything to do with politics.
I will say that with Carl Sagan, probably my favorite thing that he's ever done was the Demon Haunted World or whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was really
that
neat.
was really good.
That was cool.
Hey, you know, it's like I give him credit for sure for his research and everything, but there's so many other people.
Well, I'm not saying like I based my entire childhood around Cosmos, but Cosmos is what made me want to read a brief history of time.
Yeah.
You know, by Hawking and
Hawking, you had Edwin Hubble.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, all those guys. Neil deGrasse Tyson, but yeah.
not anything he's done recently.
Copernicus.
But,
Who's that?
You know who Copernicus is?
Just
heliocentric. What?
Von Braun. You know, like it go on and on and on
Yeah.
and on and on and on. Of course, Stephen Hawking, though. Of course, Stephen Hawking. That
yeah,
dude.
of course.
I loved
Except for his
his
black hole theory.
And actually, any astronaut too. Like a lot of astronauts have like books, biographies, and research stuff like that. I've read a lot of. Their
Here's one
stuff,
for
too.
you. First man to set foot on the moon.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong.
Neil A. What's that backwards?
Alien.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I've heard that before.
How have I never?
Really? I
Neil
assumed you
A.
guys would know that.
Alien
Neil A.
backwards.
is
He was an alien when he was alien to
you know
the
what?
moon.
Our producer brings up a
Yes.
good point. He was in fact not from the moon,
I have
and therefore
never-
on the moon
I
was
think
an
one of the
alien.
Where
Great.
did I've never made that connection?
Seriously?
before.
Really?
Never.
I've heard that. I've heard that for years.
I thought for sure you guys would both already know it and just kind of look at me like, ugh.
No, I've heard that.
I was
And then
actually
roll
like
your
for a second,
eyes.
I was like, oh, I had my mind blown for a
I
moment.
think
I've
one
never
of the,
heard that.
I
That's
think
crazy.
one of the greatest videos that Neil Armstrong has ever been in after the moon landing,
Which was fake, by the way.
Oh God!
Don't even start that.
Don't do that.
I'll punch you in the throat from over here.
Dude, that would be amazing. Do it.
Shut up! Shut your mouth.
Shut up, Matt.
Neil, the greatest Neil Armstrong video after his, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, is him in Arizona about like 15, 18 years ago. When he was at the space convention, and some guy was like a moon landing denier. He was like, "You're a liar. You never landed on the moon. You need to stop being such a coward and admit it." And Neil Armstrong just knocks this guy out right in his face. And he's 80 years old when he does it. It's awesome. You've not seen that?
I do know what you're
Oh,
talking
he
about.
punches
It
some
just
guy.
clicked with me right now. Yeah.
Yes.
I do know what you're
Neil
talking
Armstrong
about.
knocks
Yeah,
a dude out.
He freaking
That's
wrecks that dude.
amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
But it was fake.
Yeah. No.
Him punching that guy? No, that
Just
guy was
kidding.
Have you ever
out.
heard Buzz Aldrin talk about his UFO encounter, like in the 90s?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've
had heard
heard
about
I've
that.
heard Neil Armstrong talk about
Was you
the
talking?
structures on the moon that they weren't allowed to talk about.
They were forced to move off.
Well, they
by
switched. They
aliens or
switched on
whatever.
because there were several different radio channels that they were transmitting back
Yeah.
to NASA with, and
Houston.
so they switched to
Houston.
they switched to the medical channel, and they're like, "Hey, there's something out here. We cannot identify it." And Houston, like, well, take pictures.
They're like,
and those pictures were never released, and blah blah blah.
Of course.
blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah. There was that whole thing where Neil Armstrong was like, I don't remember what it was on, but he was like, we were forced to be moved off from by aliens, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, the aliens were like, "This is our place.
Yeah.
Piss off."
Something weird like that. Hold on, I'm going to look that up real quick.
Yeah, Neil
Yeah.
Armstrong is actually
The aliens had some
alien.
good immigration policies. I gotta give them that.
We actually only sent Buzz Aldrin and
Alien.
Who's the guy in the shuttle?
Oh,
Exactly. He didn't even get to step on the moon. You know that? The guy,
Yeah.
the third man who was with him.
Yeah.
He never even got to, because they had a regulation like to go out. One has to say. That's such a bummer. You go all the way to the moon, the farthest that any human being has been.
Yeah.
And you got to stay in the car. Yeah, you got to stay in the car with the air conditioning on and the windows rolled
Michael
up.
Collins.
Michael Collins.
to
thank
be
you.
fair though,
That sucks.
assume for the sake of the argument that there are very hostile aliens and they want to eat you.
Okay.
Being in the car is not a bad thing. You watch Neil Armstrong just get ripped limb from limb and Buzz Aldrin's running for the ship, and it's like,
All right, later.
all right, I think it's time to go home. Bye, guys.
What was that movie? Apollo 14 or something?
Oh,
Where they,
Apollo 18.
Apollo 18
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Where, like,
Did you see this movie? Dude, it was Parasite rocks.
Yeah.
Was
Moon rocks.
it as bad as Mission to Mars?
I would rather watch Mission to Mars.
Wow.
Dude,
Wait,
this movie.
was Mission to Mars the one with?
That was the one
Don
where like
Cheadle?
he pulled his helmet off in space because she was going to use her jetpack and it would kill them both, and so he just froze himself to death. Like he took his helmet off and he just turned into
Was
an ice
Mission
cube.
to Mars the one with Val Kilmer?
I
With
think
the
so.
killer robot and Tom Sizemore?
I want to look this up.
Or was that Red Planet?
Oh, I think that was Red
I
Planet.
hate when they come out with the exact same movies,
Yeah,
but there's two of them at the same time, like
Mission to
Ants and a
Mars.
Bug's Life.
I don't remember.
Deep Impact, Armageddon.
I don't remember
Same
a killer
movies.
robot, so I don't think it's that
Mission to
one.
Mars had Don Cheadle, Tim
Yeah, that was Don
Robbins,
Cheadle.
Connie Nielsen.
And Red Planet was Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore.
Yes.
And wasn't.
But no, dude.
Trinity was in
Apollo
that too.
18. If you've never seen it, don't watch it.
Parasite rocks.
It was rocks
Yeah,
that
space
were
rocks.
there were
Rock
space rocks
spiders.
that lived.
The rocks on the moon.
Yeah.
Were spiders.
They made that movie
Space
look
spiders.
so scary in the trailers. I was like, oh, what is that thing? It's freaky. And then like there's a scene at the end where like they have this pulsing light. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a light. They go in this like moon cavern thing, and he's
Sure.
like, "Patoo, patoo," like shooting the light, and like it's like barely lighting up the cavern.
'Cause NASA,
He's like, and he's like,
$18 billion
there's something down
you
here.
can't get a
Whoa,
real
Oh my god!
flashlight.
Whoa! And like the music's climbing. It's all like intense, and it's like you're finally gonna get to see it, and it's just rocks. Like
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
rocks.
even. I can't make this up.
It
It's
was
just
literally-
rocks, and then
it
they
was-
start growing like arms.
All
and
right.
legs. You're like,
If I want to see
"Ah!"
space spiders,
Stupid.
I'll go watch Alien,
Yeah,
and that's a little scary.
it was so stupid. I was pissed.
Thank you. Our producer has pointed out that aliens are not space spiders.
No,
Thank
they're
you.
Yeah.
they're face crabs.
They're xenomorphs.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I get it because it's like it's
they're
like a
little
play
face
on the
spiders.
whole like,
Yeah, they're
oh,
like
it could
little
be
spiders.
anything thing.
Well,
It could
no.
be an alien could be anything, but you're like a
the face
rock.
spiders.
Yeah,
Kinda
rock
terrifying.
spiders.
A rock spider?
That was a very
That was dumb.
That was a very lame payoff for that movie. I was like, they're just freaking like mindless like space spiders that want to eat people. That's stupid. We'll just nuke the bitch.
Exactly.
Right, we'll just nuke the bitch. Life was interesting. That was the recent movie with Gyllenhaal
Parasite
and
thing is dumb.
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like a virus has destroyed all of the life on Mars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing though. If there had been life on Mars and it had been like this like massive like real civilization that was around, then we would be able to be like, oh, there's some buildings and stuff.
Look at those ancient ruins.
Yeah, we'd be able to see that
From here.
orbit.
Hell, even from here.
Yeah, we can see stuff on our planet from far off. Like if we pointed Hubble back at us, be like, oh, there's New York, some buildings.
In detail.
Yeah.
We could be like,
that-
oh, look, there's, Grand Central Station.
Yeah,
and I can see a
yeah.
redhead coming out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So while we're on this topic with like space, NASA, and Armstrong, and all that stuff like that, let's talk about
But
a couple of astronauts that have claimed to have seen UFOs.
Aliens.
So you have Donald Slayton in 1951. Then you have Robert White, Joseph Walker, Eugene Cernan, Ed White and James McDivitt,
Yeah.
James Lovell and Frank Borman, Neil Armstrong, and Edwin Aldrin. And that one's got, dude, that one's crazy because there's all sorts of, they have the radio chatter audio
Yeah.
you can listen to. It's crazy.
Well, they have that documentary,
Scott Carpenter.
Aliens on the Moon, I believe it's called. My brother actually recently turned me on to that. He's like, you gotta watch this. It's crazy. It's actually got Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
Like, no, it doesn't. Yeah, it was. But it does. Neil Armstrong's there. He's like, yeah, saw some alien structures and some aliens told us to get off their planet. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Neil Armstrong is crazy.
One of the most iconic, Gordon Cooper in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was interviews that were taped of him just being like, yeah, I lived with like secrets and blah blah blah, blah about aliens and all that. It's like, dude, kind of makes you wonder if like being in are they telling the truth, or is being in that atmosphere, is it all messing with you? Is it all mind tricks,
here's the other thing.
Alzheimer's or something.
We don't.
Weather balloons.
There's not enough people that have been into space for us to have a serious study about the long-term effects of cosmic radiation.
Right.
Because supposedly the suits prevent like just getting your insides boiled out due to cosmic radiation. Because people don't realize that our atmosphere protects us from a lot of harmful stuff.
A lot of really weird juju.
Yeah, a lot of just terrible like radiological.
If we didn't have an atmosphere, we would just be toast.
I mean, not only would we wouldn't even get a chance to suffocate before we were just burned to death by cosmic radiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already like if you go outside and get sunburned, you're already like
slowly dying
gambling
from cosmic radiation.
You're already like kind of gambling it. But
Yeah.
if we didn't have the atmosphere, you just first off,
It'd be like that scene in T2.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, there's a hole in the atmosphere.
It's receding.
Yeah, it's receding. And if you're under that, those people get screwed with all the time with like solar flares and all that stuff that happened. Like it's like gnarly.
Australia.
It's gnarly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Australia.
It's already a burned out husk.
Yeah.
So no big
Hey
loss.
man, we'll just send some prisoners there. No biggie. Yeah. I make fun of Australia and my family's from there, so
So there has been from astronauts in NASA being in space saying, "Yo, we've seen some weird juju."
I've
Kind of makes you wonder.
I've always been one that like I need to see it. I need to see an alien, and I need to be like, okay, you know what I mean? That's
I feel like if you see an alien, you're not gonna be like, "Oh, all right." I feel like you'd be like, "Whoa."
Well,
oh my God.
No. I mean,
And then something's gonna happen.
I need to see it to believe it.
Right.
Like I can't depend on hearsay. Like I just can't. It's like that's why it's so hard to believe like any news story that you see on like CNN or Fox or MSNBC, because they have absolutely no facts to back it up. They're like, this happened. They're like, okay, well, let's wait a few hours and see if that actually happened.
Right.
And then there's video. It's like, okay, now I believe it. There's video of it happening. It must have happened.
Yeah.
So
Or did the government plant that video?
here's the thing though, is like there's so many people, so many experts on Photoshop and photo tampering and video editing on the internet, that if you put something out that was fake, like say for the government, if they put out a fake video that had been tampered with, somebody would be like, nah, this is Photoshop and this is why. And they would point out the markers, because you can't get rid of certain like markers that are always going to be there.
Absolutely.
So it's very hard to BS the public for too long. Like you can get away with it at first, but eventually someone's gonna.
Except for Area 51.
Except for Area 51, apparently.
I forget where I read it, or if it was a movie.
Was it on Reddit?
I don't. No, I don't go on that website, so I doubt it was.
Okay.
But I don't remember if it was a comic or a movie. But the main characters ended up at Area 51, and there were aliens at Area 51, and they were like kind of flabbergasted, and the government agents were explaining like, "Oh no, yeah, it's the perfect cover. But there are aliens here. I know. And we just let that spread. So then there are aliens. Yeah. We just tell the public that there's not. And then they believe there are. When there really are.
Yeah.
It's the perfect cover. Mm-hmm. And I forget where it was, but I thought it was pretty brilliant.
No, I get that. And then it's like, oh, well, what can I actually believe? So insane.
Yeah. So I got to read this really quick.
Okay.
Do it.
We'll continue with the Area 51 talk because
Sure.
there's a lot of weird juju that happens there. So,
Juju being the technical term.
juju. All right. So I want to remind
about
everyone
juju.
that this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Audible. Thank you, Audible, for supporting this episode of the Really Likable Geeks podcast. Audible has an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original shows, news, and more that you can listen to on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. For our audience, Audible is offering a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. We recommend to you Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey and narrated by Jefferson Mays.
Continue.
And you can keep that audiobook even if you cancel. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/RLG and browse our unmatched selection of audio content that's unmatched. Oh my God, it's that easy.
It's that easy.
audibletrial.com/RLG. That's audibletrial.com/RLG. I was laughing because
I'm
Stuart.
really proud of
Stuart
you because
was.
you did really well.
Well, here's the funny
you
thing.
did really well.
For those of you who are listening during that read, Stuart was rubbing my ankle
Ever so gently.
ever so gently and
Caressing
very,
it,
caressing
you could
it
say.
almost. I was so easy for me to go through it. I have no feeling there because my accident.
I forgot.
Yeah. So I mean, I saw you
Forgot
doing
you're
it, and it was
cyborg.
funny, but I could not see
I
it.
forgot you're a cyborg.
Yeah. Many moons ago.
He's not even human. You guys-
I broke my leg in half, and now I have no feeling from like the middle of my leg down.
Yeah, no.
So, alien. No!
We talked about it on our AI episode
Hey,
where
yeah.
you told everyone how you would be the reason that robots would revolt.
How'd you break your leg?
Motorcycle accident.
Robots.
For real?
Yeah.
Or
In
were
disguise.
you abducted? And that's what you tell everyone.
When was the last time you had it like X-rayed? Maybe there's like
Nanites.
metal trackers.
I
in
had
there.
it X-rayed in January. Yeah.
Did
There's
you get the
advanced
real
alien
X-rays?
nanites.
Yeah, I
in
had the
it.
real X-rays.
The real ones
Yeah.
or the doctored ones?
Well, it was at a doctor's office.
So they're doctored.
So
Ah.
God, I hate everything right now. But so, anyways, Area 51. Yeah, some weird stuff that happens down there. So,
Yeah, I think he's a replicant. We should
are
probably
you guys
kill
really
him.
on this still? Punch you both in the throat here in a minute.
From there?
That's exactly what a replicant would say.
They know.
He's a Cylon.
No
Quick,
way.
Throw him out the airlock.
Hey, there's no way a normal human being could reach our throats from there. He's an alien.
Yeah, he's a Cylon.
Or I learned from Stretch Armstrong.
He's not
He's
normal.
a real wrestler. I believe in him. Anyways,
All right, continue.
weird stuff that's happened. Area 51. Everyone knows Area 51. I don't think we need to actually go into detail and explain.
What's Area 51?
Okay, there's some strange stuff that goes down there. We don't really know what happens there. We have theories.
Area 51 is a military installation that is
Yeah.
usually referred to in terms of conspiracy theorists as a place to house the craft that crashed in Roswell
Yes.
and other various alien
Dude,
species
Roswell.
that are being experimented on
I am
as
personally.
we speak
Yeah, everyone
by the
brings up.
government that's hiding this information from us,
Everyone-
keeping its citizens in the dark.
Are you done?
Yeah, I think I'm done now.
As creepy and weird as Area 51 is, I really think the stuff that happens in Roswell is way more gnarly. Like, way more gnarly.
Like the base in Roswell?
Oh, yeah. I think that everyone's like, oh, Area 51. It's like, this is crafts. What about what happens in Roswell? Like,
does happen in
because
Roswell?
I don't know.
Do they
Like,
have
Because
cows?
here's
because, okay,
well,
when you
let's,
think of Roswell, it's strictly aliens. That's what you think of. When you think Roswell, oh, man, some alien
And
stuff's
the
going
crashed
down there.
craft.
Yeah.
the problem is that a lot of
Good job,
this
Matt.
kind of like mystique and like mystery that surrounds places like Roswell and Area 51 and the sewer systems underneath the Chicago and Manhattan. These were all places where the Manhattan Project was developed. The Manhattan Project being the project that developed the nuclear bomb. So no, there's no Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They keep
So
looking,
the
though.
the Manhattan Project moved around a lot because of how secret it was. So no one would ever know really what the scientists were working on. So I think I'm not saying this is totally where it is, but Area 51 and Roswell, we know that those were all sites where they developed the Manhattan Project.
True. Very true.
And we also I mean, it's not a secret that we've detonated nuclear weapons in the Nevada desert,
Right.
or the Seychelles.
I mean, nothing was lost.
Bikini Atoll. Bikini Atoll it's an island chain.
Yeah.
If you ever watched SpongeBob SquarePants, that island at the beginning of the show is Bikini Atoll because
Yes.
what's the town in SpongeBob. It's called Bikini Bottom. And that's why you have a bunch of talking creatures because of nuclear radiation.
Yes.
Yep. Crazy.
Mind blown.
Bravo.
Yeah.
So some strange stuff has come from people that have worked at Area 51, including the infamous, very strange, frantic caller on Art Bell's radio show in the late 90s, 1997. A lot of people have said it's a hoax. I would actually want to say it's not, because a lot of people like to just instantly go, oh, it's a hoax.
Because
it's like,
you
this
want to
happened
believe.
in 1997, back before this is when internet was first starting to really start making some move and everything. Everybody was really starting to utilize
the year
it.
before Windows 98.
And yeah, because
Thanks, Matt.
I was
No
running,
problem.
I was actually running 95 at the time because that's the only one we had. So
Well, yeah, because they didn't have 98 yet.
yeah.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
It takes Matt. Anyway, so I don't think that back then when the internet first started, everyone was like so quick to call things fake, like fake, or really know how to really utilize the internet to its fullest potential to debunk anything.
This was before Google.
Yeah,
And Photoshop.
it was. We had
Because Google
we
was
were
98, wasn't it?
rocking that amazing dial-up back in the
Maybe.
day.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that
Did
up.
it come out with Windows?
So of course now, with all that time that's gone by, everyone's gonna call it a hoax. But what happened was a guy called Art Bell's radio show and claimed to have worked for Area 51 and was out on like medical leave or something like that.
He got let go like a week ago.
And he's like, man, I've been on the run. I've been like everywhere. I've been like, just kind of floating from place to place to place because like they're on to me and all this stuff like that. And then he starts talking about like how they're
How they're not actually
they're
outer
not extraterrestrial.
space.
They're extra dimensional
Yeah.
beings. It's like, whoa,
So
I've never
think-
heard that
so
before. Like, no. Like,
yeah, okay,
in
Stranger
1997.
Things or that crappy Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
They're not, and you got the friggin' bad guy from V for Vendetta. They're not actually extraterrestrial. They're extra dimensional. This movie sucks. Or Twin Peaks, I guess.
But you gotta think, this was in 1997.
We don't talk about
Extra
that in the movie.
dimensional. It's like, okay, like that's a word that was thrown around in the late 90s by a dude that just called in at Art Bell's, this kind of thing. And so it's kind of like, that's pretty crazy. And then the radio station loses complete power out of nowhere. And they end up having to go on backup generators and all this stuff. And it's like, this has never happened. It's like, what on earth? And they could never get a call, and they just carried on with the show like it was nothing. And that was just all it was. And it's just like, it's kind of weird, I think it's kind of strange. There's a lot of facilities out there. You got Area 51, Roswell, S4, and even some Lockheed Martin's got.
Go ahead and
some
tell
stuff.
us what S4 is for people that don't know.
S4 is like higher security than Area 51. It's more top secret than Area 51 is.
And supposedly it's located.
Oh, it's apparently located in. Let me get the exact place. It is in.
The exact latitude and longitude.
No, I'm not.
Dude, we don't want our power cut. Don't let the government know we're talking about
Yeah,
this.
how weird would that be if everything's? Oh man, that would be weird.
Okay,
Wow, we're
if the
dead.
power goes out during this show, that's it. I'm out. Later, guys.
Yes.
Like, I'm leaving before the black SUVs pull up.
Yeah, it's called Area S4. Let's see here. Bob Lazar or whatever his name is. I can't remember it. Goom Lake, which Las Vegas Groom Lake.
Yeah.
Was blacked outside. That's known as S4. So Las Vegas Groom Lake. That place.
That's
is,
awfully close to McCarran.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories about McCarran because McCarran was originally owned by the Air Force. And there were supposedly blueprints leaked on the internet about a decade ago showing an entire underground facility beneath McCarran Airport, which if you were going to build a secret government testing facility beneath a commercial airport would be the best place because one, nobody's going to notice the massive power draw on the electric grid because it's an airport. Two, nobody's going to notice the noise because
It's an airport.
An airport. Planes are landing and taking off all the time. And three, massive amount of foot traffic.
So you can get your guys in and out and never
No
be
one
seen.
would really
So
notice.
let's see here.
Just walk through a security
So
door.
I mean, on that sense, it makes
Area
a
51
kind of sense.
is a top secret air base for the CIA and military test super secret aircraft years ahead of what the general public is aware of. As best we know, there are no UFOs or aliens at Area 51. As best we know.
Of course not.
There's, however, an area just to the south on the same test range called S4. And based on the information there, that's where they work on the extraterrestrial recovered
Aircraft,
spacecraft.
yeah.
That's where it takes place. When the president or other officials proudly proclaim that there are no UFOs or aliens at Area 51, they may be technically correct because they're at S4.
Yeah, there's always I remember
That's a loophole, you know.
I remember about 10 years ago there was a big thread chain going through the internet about a guy who worked at S4 and he was debunking Area 51. He's like, Area 51's just where we go, and then we're helicoptered into S4.
To S4, yeah.
So that people aren't aware of how important it is, and we're on a rotation of blah blah blah, and you know. He was. I mean, and you have to take that stuff people who remain anonymous about that kind of stuff. You kind of have to take it with a grain of salt,
right? Yeah.
Because unless you can be like, dude, show me your orders, show me that you actually served in the military.
Badge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
at least show me your military ID.
Yeah, prove to me you actually worked in the military.
Yeah. So, at least 5 to 10%, maybe more, of what is being reported to us, which would be the population, is top secret U.S. aircraft built for the CIA and military. And between Area 51 and S4, there are telltale signs of what's ours and what's theirs. Theirs being extraterrestrial. So, when someone's like, there's nothing happening at Area 51, you're right. It's happening at S4. If you're like, oh, the stuff happening at S4, it's like, well, what is S4? Don't really have much to go off of. S4 is and it's funny because there's a lot of people have you ever heard of S4? They're like, oh, what's that? It's like, that's, when you say Area 51, everyone's like, oh, Area 51. When you say S4, I have met more people that go, what's that? That's how high, really secretive that place is.
To be fair, though, I've met people who I was like, oh, yeah, my buddy's stationed out of Fort Hood. And they're like, where's that?
Yeah.
And arguably, Fort Hood is one of the most famous Army bases, in America, after.
Where's that?
You're being serious or are you being facetious?
A little bit, yeah.
It's in Texas.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
yes. Fort Hood is in Texas. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, the soldier who went on a shooting. I think it was 6 years ago.
No.
Okay.
I'm blanking.
That was in Fort Hood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the counter to the fact that aliens exist or not.
Okay.
Specifically, we're going to talk about, because there's so many different arguments on both sides, but we're just kind of hitting the big ones, the Drake equation. And then the opposite of that is the Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox, named after physicist Enrico Fermi, is the apparent contradiction between the lack of evidence and high probability estimates, e.g. those given by the Drake equation, for the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations. The basic points of the argument made by physicists Enrico Fermi and Michael H. Hart are: there are billions of stars in the galaxy that are similar to the sun, many of which are billions of years older than Earth. With high probability, some of these stars will have Earth-like planets, and if the Earth is typical, some might develop intelligent life.
Sure.
Some of these civilizations might develop interstellar travel, a step the Earth is investigating now. Even at the slow pace of currently envisioned interstellar travel, the Milky Way galaxy could be completely traversed in a few million years. According to this line of reasoning, the Earth should have been visited by extraterrestrial aliens already. In an informal conversation, Fermi noted no convincing evidence of this, leading him to ask, where is everybody?
They already visited 1440.
Well, here's the thing. There have been many attempts to explain the Fermi paradox, primarily either suggesting that intelligent extraterrestrial life is either extremely rare or proposing reasons that such civilizations have not contacted or visited Earth. Basically, they've seen the kind of species we are.
And they said, nah.
And are uninterested. Yeah, that might have something to do with it.
I would agree with that.
So,
if I was cruising for friends in space and I saw what was happening here, I'd probably just keep on cruising.
And one of the saddest things, I think, is the idea that maybe we are alone.
It's possible.
It's a very depressing idea. I think I forget who said it, but he said something. I think it was H.G. Wells, and he said, "What is more depressing, to look up at the stars and to know that there's extraterrestrial life that is out there that does not want to talk to us, or to look up at the stars and know that we are alone?" I think it was H.G. Wells, something like that. I'm probably misquoting the heck out of that.
Paraphrase.
I kind of want to debunk the alien thing a little bit, because a lot of people are like, "Oh man, extraterrestrials! If they're out there, they're out there. If they're not out there, they're not out there." And then there is the "Are we alone in space?" thing. Part of me likes to think that we're not, but not intelligently. Not like, "Oh, there's someone like us out there." It's like, I think that there is other life out there.
I would agree with
But
that.
I don't think that it might be intelligent.
And honestly, I would actually say there probably is intelligent life out there. But is it anything like us?
No, God, no.
Probably not.
I would say,
and
honestly,
has it come to visit us? Probably not.
I would say, given the circumstances of life and everything that's happened, I would say that we're at a point in life, like the human race is at a point that's like it can't be matched. I would say, in across the galaxy, I would just say, like I don't really feel like there's another life form out there that is on par with us or more advanced.
As advanced as us?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that our star is, relative to the stars that we've seen, relatively young.
Yeah.
So we might just be the first species that has advanced
Yeah.
to our level of technology.
Do you think it's taking time still somewhere?
I mean, it might
It
be.
could.
I mean, we might eventually get out there, in 1,000 years or whoever.
Sorry.
And we might be the species that is visiting other planets and seeing.
We could be the alien.
We could be the aliens.
Well, I mean, we might visit species that are pre-industrial, and we're
Tribal.
We could be like that movie Planet 51. The guy flash landed on the aliens.
Yeah. I mean,
But no, I think
it's a
about that because I
possibility.
think like, okay, it's like, where did the thoughts of aliens come from? They were back, way back in the 60s, 50s,
L.
or
Ron
beyond that. They were like old folk tales and movies and scary movie monsters, stuff like that were people, thought that they would see in real life. Like, oh, that's how it starts. Is one person says they see something and then it goes,
Well, as soon as there's no explanation.
I would say
the
here and I would
mind
think,
runs.
okay, if there were aliens, are they really that so smart, so intelligent to understand like espionage and like just like hiding in the shadows
Subterfuge and
and
things
all
like
that stuff? How come it's like you never see them in the day?
I would
we'll move at
assume.
night. They
I would
can't see us.
assume.
How do they know?
I would assume that
Why
if.
would the-
I would
why is
assume
that?
that any alien race that would want to visit Earth would at first study our culture and just the way that we live
Watch and learn first.
in order to not be observed.
Right.
Like in the instance of think of Dr. Jane Goodall and her work with the apes
The
and
gorillas.
gorillas. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was very staunch about not disrupting their natural hierarchy and environment. She studied them from a distance, and she learned how they, how they lived and how they worked as a unit and all that.
Right.
So, from a scientific standpoint, it makes sense that you wouldn't want to interfere with the natural progression of a species.
Right.
Because
Natural
that throws
evolution.
off all your data.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You don't want to mess with the results or mess with the
Especially if they have the technology to understand us in any form.
Mm-hmm.
All of the... I mean, think about every alien movie ever made.
Okay. Thinking about it.
What happens?
the vast majority.
Yes, that's true. The vast majority. Aliens are invading. Humans don't react well. Lots of aliens die.
Right.
So if you're an alien
Mars
and you
attacks.
come to Earth and you're...
Mars attacks.
That's true.
I would say
I
that
love
there's.
Mars Attacks.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I was thinking like District 9.
Dude,
Even then,
Yeah.
the
I
aliens aren't
love
really invading, but
that
humans
movie.
don't react well.
I love that movie so much.
That was a good movie.
It really was.
Unfortunately, they never gave us a sequel that they promised.
Yeah.
No, that movie was incredible. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I think about it. It's like there's always going to be two sides. There's going to be the side that's like, oh yeah, and then there's going to be the other side that's going to say no. Then there's the middle people who are just like they want to say yes and no. They want to be the middleman. I'm kind of like more so on the no side when it comes to that stuff because I really have. Usually, like with UFOs, I will agree. I will say UFOs exist. 100% UFOs exist. Are they alien craft? Not going to say that. But I can 100% factually say that UFOs
Not going to
exist.
say that or saying no?
I'm saying aliens don't exist.
Okay.
I'm saying UFOs do, though. Because we have seen so much evidence of, like, what is that? In video form, in real life, I've seen stuff that I can't explain.
I'm sure we've all seen the lights in Arizona, the 9 lights just, doing
weird stuff.
doing if they were some kind of aircraft, they're breaking pretty much every
known law of physics.
yeah.
So it's like
that we understand about drag and wind resistance.
there's actually a light that is in Big Bear up here that appears sometimes. My friend Travis showed it to me one night. He was like, every once in a while there's a green light that's really bright that hovers over this one specific area in Big Bear. And I was at his house one night and he showed me and it was there and I was like, whoa. And it just kind of like floated away from the mountain. It's like, I don't know what that is. It's a craft. It's an unidentified. It's a flying object.
Or
what is that?
Let me just
Weather balloon.
Play devil's advocate.
Weather
I was going
balloon.
to say a more concentrated version of Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
Have you ever seen?
Yeah,
have you ever
yeah.
seen the video of that? It's stunning
crazy.
and breathtaking.
Yeah.
and it's completely alien to what people who don't live around it are used to seeing.
Yeah.
And it has
Balto
to do.
ruined that movie for me, by the way. Sorry.
but I mean, it has to do. It has to do.
I was
with,
like, oh, it's just bottles. That sucks.
temperature and atmosphere conditions.
Oh
and
yeah, it's crazy
blah, blah, blah,
amazing.
blah, blah.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah, it's very beautiful.
Yeah. When I chalk that stuff to, I'm pretty smart about it. I'm like, well, it's a green light, and like the Big Bear thing. It's green light. It's floating away from the thing. It kind of disappears. Could have been some kind of electrical current from the power lines or something. I'm always trying to be
Swamp gas off the lake.
And
I'm trying to be optimistic
The
about
thing
it.
is,
I don't want to
is
instantly
that
be like, oh, like, it is definitely a sight to see, but I'm not going to say it's,
there are gas deposits at the bottom of lakes
Yes, there are.
that do bubble up to the surface
And
and,
do
are
weird
released
things.
and do ignite and they make weird lights.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
That is something that happens. Obviously, that's and I think Hollywood has a lot to answer for as far as the swamp gas, people dismissing it, is because if you've ever lived, I had family that lived in Florida, near the what was it called in the swamp marshes,
Everglades.
the Everglades.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, sorry.
I got you.
They're like, yeah, stuff explodes sometimes, violently. Because there's gas deposits and it bubbles up to the surface and it ignites and it makes makes crazy
blows up.
explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it happens.
the planets are weird. Weird stuff.
Put that on a
happens.
shirt, guy. Planets are weird.
Planets are weird.
We're making that a shirt.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Planets
That's gonna
are
be a
weird.
shirt.
Planets are weird. Stuff
Words
happens.
are hard, planets are weird. T-shirts are gonna be 3 words.
Oh
boom,
my
boom,
God.
boom.
But you know what
Yes,
I mean?
merchandise. Planets are weird.
Merchandising.
There's so many
That's fantastic.
there's so many things that we can explain
should have
through
an RLG
science. There's so many things that are explainable through science and observable conditions. But if you're just some guy who doesn't know what's happening and you're just oh man, that's weird. That's insane. Why would the lake explode like that? Or why is there this weird light floating above?
That's the same standpoint from our experimental aircraft.
Yeah.
There are things that not everyone understands the laws of physics to the letter. We have a basic understanding, and then you see an aircraft that's really pushing those limits and breaking what your understanding of them is. Clearly it's alien
Yeah.
to your mind.
Yeah.
What is this?
I think we all need to be very clear, though, that I think we're all kind of on the same page. Like, I need to see it. And it needs to be observable, and it needs to be reproduced.
Yes.
Like, I need to see empirical evidence
And I think-
of something before I'm, like, on board. And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy.
I think Steve's on. I think he had a point he mentioned a while ago where he felt like humanity would be the top dog, technologically speaking, around us anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And to one point, I want to say, like, I highly doubt that universal wide or whatever we want to call everything, because there's just so much out there. And like Drake's equation, there's got to be life somewhere. But nearby, I feel like our technology is advanced enough that everything close to us, relatively speaking, we would notice
within a stone's throw.
if something else was with our technology
Yeah.
or higher. We'd have noticed things
you
flying
would hope
around.
so. I mean, but here's the other thing is that we base a lot of our sensory technology and our observable, telescopes on things that we would develop in order to travel
Right.
between, stars
And
or
alien
galaxies.
species will do things. Who
I
knows?
mean, they might not. I mean,
Completely differently.
the best way that, an alien species to travel between two planets might be to, hop on, because there might be a microbial, species, and they might just, hop on a meteor and then blast the meteor off into space in a direction.
True.
Or they could be, completely non-carbon based life forms. Like we assume so
Space spiders.
much. Well, I was saying more like,
Made of carbon.
what to our eyes or minds would be machinery.
Right.
It could be, an not artificial, but a combination of
More machine than man.
yeah. Not well, yeah, okay. It could be
More than
Transformers.
meets the eye.
It might be Transformers. It might be Transformers, but not the stupid, lame
Bay.
Michael Bay
No.
version of Transformers. The good version of Transformers that we all know and love.
Back before it was lens flares and dogs humping each other.
Sure.
Alrighty
That's
then.
all it was in
Good.
freaking one of them.
I
think it was the third one, I think it was.
Yeah.
I didn't make that up. That's really happened.
That happened.
He was obnoxious.
Those are such terrible movies.
They're really bad.
Stop making more Transformers movies. Stop it. Stop it, Michael Bay. You suntanned weirdo who thinks that CGI and special effects are a replacement for plot and story. You frickin' hack. You suck.
Lens flare. Wait,
You
no,
messed-
wrong
you
guy.
messed
Sorry.
it. Yeah, that's-
Explosion.
That's JJ.
That's JJ.
JJ is the lens flare.
That's how you really feel.
behind Stuart.
Jeez.
No.
That was like gnarly.
Does anyone here like Michael Bay movies? Name a Michael Bay movie that's good.
I like Armageddon.
Shut up. You're an idiot. Screw you. You think it makes more sense. You think it makes more sense.
Whoa, I never
to
said it
take-
made sense.
to
I just said I
take-
liked it.
No, you think it makes more sense. No, it's not entertaining because it's stupid.
Oh no, it is stupid.
I don't care if it's
no, it's
Bruce
stupid.
Willis.
Okay, hold on.
It is
You think
cheaper
it-
to train astronauts to drill than drillers
Exactly.
to astronaut. And yes, I just used astronaut as a verb.
It's
Okay.
stupid.
The Rock was pretty amazing.
Okay, I did like The Rock too.
Okay, fair.
Pearl
That-
Harbor was pretty good.
That movie sucked.
Okay.
That movie had nothing to do with Pearl Harbor.
You know what has nothing to do with
It's
Pearl
a
Harbor, guys?
4-hour movie, and
Aliens.
3 hours in, you actually are at Pearl Harbor.
The
Wait, I didn't know
I'm
this.
glad Josh Hartnett died,
Aliens.
and I'm glad that Ben Affleck died, and I hate them both. That movie sucked.
I like
the only good part
the
about
Amityville Horror.
Aliens.
the new one.
The 2005 one.
Ugh,
I thought it was bad.
with Ryan Reynolds.
Aliens.
Ugh.
Okay, Star Kid.
Aliens.
97. That was a good movie. It was a cool.
Aliens.
Michael Bay sucks,
Aliens.
and Ridley Scott is losing his damn mind.
Aliens.
Speaking of aliens, have you seen Alien Covenant?
Freaking Mystery Men was funny. It was.
UFOs.
Have you seen the new Alien movie,
I'm trying so hard.
Covenant?
Here.
No,
No.
I'm ignoring it.
I know.
What did you say?
I'm trying to get us back on track. I've been saying aliens
We're
over
talking
and
about
over.
we're talking about aliens.
No, I chose not to see it.
Because it doesn't make any sense. He's like, oh, this is the movie that'll connect the dots between what was the other crappy one? Prometheus and like Alien, the first movie. No, it didn't. It did not make any damn sense. It's stupid.
I agree.
And I hope Michael Fassbender dies in real life.
You like Michael Fassbender?
Because he continues to be a part of this crappy movie.
He's got to pay the bills, man.
He did. He's Magneto. He's Magneto. He's got money.
I don't know,
No,
dude.
screw those movies. When it's so that movie was so bad
I like
that
him
it
in
made,
Assassin's Creed.
Okay, it's fine,
You
but
know, like-
the Alien Covenant was so bad that it made me like Alien less, the original.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, Glorious Bastards.
Sucked. That was
12 Years a
Quentin
Slave.
Oh, you're talking about Fassbender.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ridley Scott. Oh yeah.
No.
I'm not saying he hasn't done good movies.
It's like, so he did Prometheus. Or not Prometheus.
Prometheus and Covenant.
Yeah, okay.
They both
so,
sucked.
Okay, whatever. He did
hate
Macbeth. Like,
Everyone's done Macbeth. Akira Kurosawa did Macbeth.
he did.
That means nothing.
To be fair, Disney did Macbeth
Fair.
with animals.
Oh, they did.
No, that was Hamlet. My bad. That's
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
Yeah, I was like, what
Yeah.
are you talking
I'm
about?
on the wrong play.
Not
They did
Macbeth.
not do Macbeth.
I feel like they
Just
probably
people
did.
dying.
No.
Just people getting
There's
murked.
so many. I mean, there's like
probably did
there's
a Macbeth.
sexual assault in
Yeah.
Macbeth. Like they did
They
not
probably
do
did a
Macbeth.
Macbeth.
No, they did not.
All right, we got way off topic here. UFOs are
Rape
cool.
is like
Thank
a
you.
big
I'm
part
trying
of
to get-
Macbeth.
I know you are. We were talking about Prometheus and aliens and stuff. So
That was
like
the-
it
that
was.
was Hamlet.
That was
UFOs
Hamlet.
are cool. I believe. I'm saying
Wah.
UFOs. Yes, they do exist. Aliens, not so much. I feel like with stuff like that, that's controversial. There's always another side to it that to make it a little bit more campy and a little bit more ridiculous. Like UFOs, yeah, you see something you don't know what it is, unidentified flying object. Okay, you can identify that you don't know what it is. Okay, but to add in
So
like
then it's an
and
identified,
it's
unidentified flying
aliens,
object.
it's like come on, dude. What'd you say?
So then it's an unidentified flying object.
Exactly. You can identify
UFO.
that you saw something, but you don't know what it is. UFOs are great. I think they're really cool. I have, you know, I go online. I'm like, man, what's like some UFOs that people have seen? I instantly disregard any saucer shaped stuff. I just disregard that.
Why?
Because that's the classic. You know, if someone, what did you see? Oh, I saw a round. Of course you did. Of course you didn't see something different. You really think that
Well, okay,
technology
so-
hasn't advanced beyond saucers? Really?
I think there
I
was
just
a-
debunked
there was,
that
there,
instantly.
there was an argument. The reason why people were seeing it as a saucer, or from their perspective, it was a round saucer shape, is it was a problem of perspective,
Right.
Because it might have been like spheroid, but just
Right.
from their perspective.
But there are people
So,
that's like,
you know.
oh yeah, it hovered right above me. It was round. It had lights on the bottom. Of course he did, because that's what has been, you know, ingrained in our memories for years to come, hundreds of years.
Close Encounters is one of the most
Yeah.
seen movies of all time.
But it's funny. But if you go to, you know, if you go to a lot of museums and you look at these hieroglyphics from you know, ancient Egypt stuff, the ships
Sumerian,
that they
yeah.
shoot, they're very different. They're like the Marvin the Martian ship.
They're
you know?
cylindrical. Yeah.
They're like
they're rockets.
and they come straight down like how SpaceX is doing. That's what they look like.
They look like
Right.
space dildos.
Yeah, and then there's the other ones where it's like they're big round ones that shine a lot of light, but they're not saucers. They're balls.
Yeah.
you know, they're round. They're just spheres. So and then somewhere in there in that mix, it's like okay, I meant whatever they saw, fantastic. Whatever, like, and it's like in hieroglyphics too. They have depictions of men in suits. Little men in suits and stuff
You're
like
talking
that.
about the Sumerian. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
pictographs.
weird.
Yeah, I know.
It's really weird because that's so long ago. And then somewhere in throughout over time, we went to saucers, and that's still what stuck for all this time. So anytime it was like, man, oh yeah, I saw a saucer, blah blah blah. It's like, of course you did, because that's all you have to go off of. You know, you're not like the person who's seen the triangle or the V-shaped one,
based on
or
that,
the lights and the,
I
you know,
do tend
like-
to agree with you in a little bit, but I also am going to go a step further, and I tend to think that the people who see the rocket-shaped ships are also probably hoaxes for all intents
Exactly.
and purposes, because rockets is what we know. That's how we've gotten to space.
yes.
it's aerodynamic because it has to get through an atmosphere. Nothing ever said that it has to be completely aerodynamic.
Yeah.
They
It could
might
be a
know
box.
something about physics that we don't know. And when you're
Well,
in space, it
in
doesn't
space,
have
it's
to
it
be.
doesn't
box.
matter. It doesn't matter.
But
It's
down
a
in the
drag.
atmosphere.
There's no drag. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't-
It could be a box. It could be a cube.
You could make it
whatever.
the
It's the same
least
thing.
aerodynamic.
A box and a cube are the same thing. Sorry.
But I'm saying if you built,
could be
Not
an-
if the box is rectangular.
Fair.
if you were going, I mean, yeah, there's a wormhole jumping, but I'm saying if you were going to build a spaceship in space,
Oh yeah.
it wouldn't need to be aerodynamic
No.
if its purpose was to never land on a planet.
Yeah.
Like it
If
wouldn't
it was
be-
for like docking purposes or whatever.
Well, I'm saying if it was purely
switching.
for intergalactic
It would never,
travel,
it would never enter an atmosphere.
Yeah, it would never enter an atmosphere.
Agreed.
Like I think.
It could be anything.
I thought the idea, this kind of pissed me off, is that the idea that the Star Trek ships, when they could enter atmosphere, when they were like wildly not aerodynamic, was stupid to me. Like I hated that. I don't remember when they started doing that. When because they had the shuttles that would go down, or
Yeah.
they could beam down.
Yeah.
But then when they had the Enterprise can enter atmosphere, I was like, how?
Yeah.
The freaking
The wings would snap off.
Well, the warp nacelles would rip off.
Yeah, they would just rip off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
The actual top,
the saucer would be fine.
That would be
but
fine.
The warp
But everything else was
nacelles-
just like.
yeah, the warp
it would
nacelles
just-
would rip off.
This and this would be cool.
Yeah.
Everything else would
No,
not.
they
Yeah,
would just
toast.
rip off.
Just-
Like
they would
that's
just fall
stupid.
off. Yeah, so it's like, so when people say that, I'm like, oh man, I don't know about that.
Get
and
your
it's always,
crap together,
and it's
Gene
always like,
Roddenberry's
oh yeah,
ghost.
I saw it. It was right there, and it's like something. It's like, oh yeah, it was like this big in the sky.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you really don't think the technology that there's no big ones? There's nothing bigger. They're all the same size. And it spit. They're like, oh yeah, and it was rotating, and it's like, it's rotating.
I mean,
So what do you think? They just go forward and they're just constantly like it just. I always just like completely
Okay,
disregard
again,
anyone that talks about that
I heard
stuff.
some argument about the usage of centripetal force in order to create lift in a spheroid object. I'm not sure.
That would require
I'm
the
not
center
sure-
the center point
I
of mass
know.
not move.
I'm aware of that. I'm
which
aware of
is-
that. I'm not sure of the science behind it, but I heard someone make that argument of why a lot of UFOs are spheroid. It has
Right.
to do with
And
centripetal force creating lift in an atmosphere. And I was like,
again, for your saucers that are constantly rotating, another thing that humanity bases things off of because, hey, it's what we understand. We go to space in rockets. We understand that. So these discs, helicopter blades have to spin.
Yeah.
We understand things spin to lift.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't it spin?
Yeah.
Didn't I just say that?
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
But he's putting it in a different
Oh,
perspective.
I'm going from like
He's
the,
agreeing with
the
you.
layman's version.
Yes, the Da Vinci aerial screw.
Yes.
I know to which you're referring,
the
sir.
layman's
Yeah.
version, all we understand is what we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we base what we
We
see
understand
off of that.
aerodynamics and airflow and push and pull and all that stuff. We
Is it
understand
really
all that stuff.
affected by it? We don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But
I
you
mean,
know, it's fun. And I'm
to
not
be-
saying that
to be
like,
fair-
I saw a sphere one, or whatever, like, or I saw a saucer one or a disc one. It's like, okay, I will agree with you that may have been seen before because someone had to say that. Someone had to say, oh, it's a sphere. So it had to come from somewhere.
Or was it like, I know there are studies about this, but the kind of like collective unconsciousness that like once an idea is put out into like the ether, then it's like out there for everyone to like kind of latch onto.
yeah.
I don't know if you guys like know a lot about like the philosophical like basis for the collective unconscious.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that. Like, once it's
knows?
out, once an idea is out there, like
It
it's just
sticks,
accepted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the social norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know, do I believe in UFOs? Yes, my dad has seen stuff. I've seen stuff. I've never seen saucer-based stuff. I don't know. I've seen stuff that I can't explain. I've seen stuff that I didn't know what it was at first, and then after doing research, I'm like, oh, it's a bomber, or oh, it's a Harrier, like stuff like that. Because things are crazy. You never hear them coming, and then they're suddenly 20 miles away. You're like, holy crap,
Yeah,
it's
this
crazy.
is sound barrier.
Science is crazy.
tells us
Science
that
is crazy.
Xenu
Science.
Great and powerful Xenu,
Galactic
our Lord and
Overlord
Savior.
Xenu.
Ah, Zoltan.
10,000 years ago, dropped a bunch of aliens into a volcano that was Hawaii, and those souls
That was
escaped
Hawaii?
into the atmosphere. But then Xenu captured their souls and began to brainwash them with images of life.
I hate you a little. Will
That
you
is
shut up?
exactly what
I don't
Scientology
care.
believes.
You guys are wackos.
Oh, I'm not disputing that.
You guys are Scientologists. You just get out of there, please. Gosh.
Yeah. Have you watched
Yeah.
that Scientology documentary?
I have watched quite a few.
The HBO one, the Going
Oh,
Clear.
yeah, dude.
Dang, those people go hard. That is some crazy. I kind of want to join Scientology just so I can get that giant. Did you see the giant like metal that Tom Cruise got? It was like a giant metal, like gold dinner plate. I want that. Yeah, I want that. I want it bad. But I don't have the time or money
To dedicate to a cult?
To dedicate to it.
Yeah, you know the other thing too I want to. We need to wrap up here pretty quick. But the other thing I'm going to talk about UFOs is always people always see one. They always say, "I saw one." They never see like a fleet.
Well, I mean, there's those videos.
There
of
are
nine
some.
lights.
There are some.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time, they're like, "I saw it." It's like nobody is like, "I saw them." There was like 9 of them, and they're all like in formation. Da, da, da. It's like if they're so sophisticated to even
Except for
get
the
here
dancing
with
lights
that
over Washington.
and all this stuff, it's like how
That
come
was
they're
9 in a row.
not sophisticated enough to be in a formation? How come they're just sporadically all over?
Well,
Maybe it's a
okay.
scout.
Well,
we're
here's
all
the,
lost. Like,
well, okay.
you
Here's
know,
the other thing: is
no
that
GPS.
when you think of like a fighter,
It's a scout.
when you think of a fighter wing formation, what shape does it form?
V.
Exactly, because in our atmosphere and with our gravity, like that's the most aerodynamic formation to fly in.
Right.
On another planet with a different gravitational pull, with a different kind of atmosphere,
Different technology.
it might be, flying like that is
Flying like a maniac.
well to us.
Serpentine.
Well, yeah,
just
I
all
mean
the
to
time.
us, and that's the thing is it's a matter of perspective.
Of course.
Or maybe it's to confuse us.
Yeah.
Like it might
Maybe
just
we
be,
see one and there's like 50 behind us.
Yeah, it's like
oh,
it's like the Milgram experiments
Yeah.
where he would have people like standing
What's
on.
that?
No, he would just have people standing on a
Distraction.
street corner, like looking up into the sky, and just like staring at something,
And
and
see
he would
how many
just
people would stop.
Oh, a lot. It was funny. Like, have you ever seen the video of it?
I've seen quite a few of those types.
People
like,
just
what's the one
crowd
that's
around
like-
and they're just like staring at it and they're like pulling out their phones and they're like taking pictures of it.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing.
Yeah, like it's all that it's all you're aware, like those awareness tests.
Mm-hmm.
It's like count how many times these guys passed the red
Yes.
ball, and it's like,
And
but
have
did
you
you see
seen
the
the
dancing
moonwalking
Yeah,
bear?
the dancing
Yeah.
bear. You're like, what? And then you watch it back, and there's a freaking bear that doesn't. You're like,
It
holy cow!
It
Like,
rewinds it, and you're like, "What? No, that's not real."
And
And
go
so
back
then
to
it
the
tells
beginning.
you, "Go back to the start,"
and it's
Okay.
there.
and it's there, and you're like, "What?"
Yeah, I'm a moron.
That bear's got moves.
That bear's got some sweet moves. But yeah, it's
All
just
right.
one of those things. So,
So, since we're wrapping up, I got a final question for both of you.
final answer:
UFOs and aliens stance.
aliens, no. UFOs, yes.
I want to believe.
The truth is out there.
I mean, when something is put so succinctly and perfect, it's not a bad thing to repeat it.
Really?
I want to believe.
How about
Personal
you, Matt?
standpoint,
But
aliens yes, UFOs no.
What? How can you say that?
In the sense that Drake's equation, there is life out there. There has to be.
Yeah. Mhm.
It is probably sentient. It hasn't visited us.
Okay.
so
There's
you're
no
saying that
UFOs.
every
Oh.
UFO. Oh, so you're saying that every UFO can either be explained by A, secret military weapons, or B, just planets are weird.
Yeah. Planets are
or
weird.
even see
We're making that a
like
shirt.
someone's saw something and perceived it some different way.
Well, I'm saying like the ones with like actual video.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with
So you
that.
think that
Or,
other?
the guy was drunk.
There's not alien craft.
So you think aliens exist? Just not. They haven't gotten here yet.
Aliens in
Or
the
won't.
sense that there is another planet with life.
Yes.
So
I believe in UFOs. He believes in aliens. You want to believe.
I would like to believe, but I've never been given enough evidence to definitively say, like, yes, aliens are real.
The truth is out there, Stuart.
And you know, I'm gonna side.
There are worse.
watch the skies.
There are worse shows to quote.
I love that.
I'm gonna side with him a little bit. There is not
true,
enough
though.
definitive evidence for me to say beyond a shadow of a doubt that there are aliens out there.
Yeah.
But
there's enough for me to say that
there's
UFOs
enough.
exist.
There's enough for me to say there's got to be. Statistically speaking, there's got to be.
Aliens, no. UFOs, yes. UFOs, no. Aliens, yes. And you just kind of want to believe. Gotcha.
Yeah,
It's a human thing.
it's
Of course.
it's a human thing that we don't want to believe that we're completely alone.
Yeah.
And that brings us full circle.
But
to
you know
your
what?
quote from H.G. Wells.
I feel like it is H.
Wait, what did you just say?
I don't know.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
It's a human imperative that we don't want to be alone.
Because what's
that
worse?
Quote? There's a quote that I heard.
Looking at the sky and seeing that.
What's that quote that Stuart just said? Like
No,
20
not
minutes
you.
ago? Oh.
There's another quote. I said there's a quote that I've heard.
And
Yeah,
then we got
Dead
radio
Space, great,
silence.
guys.
All
Oh,
right.
okay.
You guys could have been talking while I was.
Well,
trying
I
to look
don't
this
know
up.
what you're referring
I was
to.
saying,
You're like,
trying to
there's a
find it.
quote.
Nothing.
There's lots of quotes
Yeah.
referring to
Oh,
what?
Arthur Clarke.
Oh,
Two
it was
possibilities
Arthur C.
exist.
Clarke.
Either we're alone in the universe or we're not. Both are equally terrifying.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
That is.
That's what
if
I
you
was
think about it, you're like,
referencing.
oh man,
It
there
wasn't
could be
H.G.
something
Wells.
out there. Oh, and then you think this could be it.
There's literally
What were you
nothing
doing
else.
when I was
That's
talking about that
crazy.
like 20 minutes ago? That's what I was
I was
referring
probably
to.
doing researching.
Oh,
I was probably
that's what I was
researching some
referring
stuff.
to. I thought it was H.G. Wells. It's Arthur C.
It's
Clarke.
Arthur Clarke. Yeah.
I made it a
So-
lot longer. He was a lot more succinct than mine.
Yeah.
That's
That
what I was.
is
That's what I was talking about.
Crazy to me because like it's funny because I didn't actually look up that quote until like just a few years ago. I didn't hear
I
that quote
remember
for a
that
few years.
from like my childhood.
So it's just kind of like it's both equally terrifying. So yeah, so people want to believe
I do.
just to be like there's something out there, yay, to be, and then some people are like this could be it. Like that kind of sucks. It's kind of
It would
scary.
be very sad
you know?
if we were the only species to evolve to sentience. And that is I mean, that's true.
Our
That-
producer
that's
has a
that's
lot of good
why
points
that's
tonight.
why a lot of people turn to religion is because the faith in a higher power. I feel like it falls along the same lines.
Yeah,
But
it's like what Carl Sagan said. If the universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, it seems like an awful waste of space.
yeah, exactly.
So it could be yes. Me, I don't think so.
Hmm.
So I think that this is it.
This is it.
Oh God, I think this is it. I think that
Make no
I do truly think that we're alone in the universe, and there is other forms of life, but not intelligent life. Parasites or plants or whatever like that.
Well, then
that
let's
exists.
go
Like
fly
animals.
over there and
Yeah.
teach them.
Yeah, Matt,
Let's
go teach a
let's
freaking
go-
flower to do math.
No,
Go for
I mean,
it.
he's saying let's go teach those space baboons, how to write Shakespeare.
Let's go some Jane Goodall
Give them
to the space baboons.
give them some typewriters. See what
Cool.
happens.
Cool.
Macbeth.
Yeah, Macbeth,
Space Macbeth.
space Macbeth. Give them
Communism in space.
No,
Yeah.
don't do
Space
that. You give them communism and that's it.
Space
We've wiped out. That's
communists.
genocide.
Or we can finally discover the secret Nazi moon base.
Oh my gosh.
Is that what Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin got shooed away from?
It's probably secret Nazi moon base.
Yeah. And then the podcast goes dark.
Iron
Oh,
Skies.
We need to
Seen
wrap up.
that movie.
We're gonna wrap up. We're gonna stop right here.
I'm with him. We're gonna wrap
We're gonna
up.
stop right there. So you can find the podcast on iTunes and Google Play. The links will be down below. You can find the podcast at all of our social media and everything
Social
at
medias.
reallylikablegeeks.com. Our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything there, and updates about things that we're doing. Merchandise like Planets Are Weird.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
Merchandising.
And info on Matt and Stewart's game. Very
It is
soon
going to be awesome.
here. Very soon here. I see what you did there.
Awesome.
It's very, very soon here. You'll be able to find that. RealLikeableGeeks.com. Link will be down below. You can find me on Twitter at that Stephen Brown.
You can find me avoiding Twitter at Believe the Weave.
And you can find me at Stu_, no last name.
Thank you for listening to us rant and rave and discuss space and UFOs and aliens.
Happy
and if we're not
UFO
here
Day.
next week, you know what happens.
Because the government's murdered us and dumped our bodies into a vat of
My
acid,
address
dissolving
is
them and till we're basically nothing and then dump that acid and our pulpy body mixture into the middle of the desert so no one could even find any trace of us.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.